I think I need to set a screen sharing.
Yeah.
To new share. Maybe this way.
Not yet, Prof.
Yes.
What's that here?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can see it
That's
now.
only one application.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go back. You can hear?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A virtual world is an environment on the internet where people can meet and explore all sorts of things. All virtual worlds are different. They can be a realistically built village, but also a huge fantasy environment. The virtual world is populated with avatars, digital characters that are controlled by real people who logged in on the internet. Every user has his own avatar. With this avatar, you can explore the world, work together with others, sometimes even build, and avatars can communicate with each other through text or even voice chat. It can happen that you're talking to someone from a totally different country. Virtual worlds offer many interesting opportunities for education. It is quite simple to do distance learning, have students work together on a project, even with students from other countries. So, what are the things you could do? You could practice a foreign language by talking to others in a virtual language village. Go back in time, immerse into the history of the Romans or Egypt. Visit buildings that do not exist anymore or are not allowed to visit in real life. Do experiments with gravitation and technique. Train your students how to react in a dangerous situation. Practice to work with difficult machines. Visit a museum or play a virtual musical instrument. Show the latest fashion trends. Make a project about saving the environment or solve a virtual quest with your students. There are many ideas and possibilities for education in virtual worlds, but there is also still a lot to explore. The students are excited. How about you? One thing is sure, education has never been so much fun. This video is created by 3D LES in cooperation with the TILA and University projects.
Okay, so it was fun. I think I couldn't do it better. I think I need to change my screen share again. So you can see the slide now? No.
Not yet, Prof.
Where to change that? No, I have no option to. Yes, hidden.
Okay, we can see it now, Prof.
Yeah, okay. I think I got the idea. So.
Yeah.
So just so far about OpenSim. You will agree it's quite popular among several universities. Just let me mention, this is also what has happened in Second Life. It's a bit not so nice story, actually, but I have to tell it, of course. This is when Second Life started as it's a commercial system compared to OpenSim. They had also a 50% discount, so there's a paid membership fee. There was a 50% discount for education institutions, but it was suddenly revoked in 2010, and it was reinstated in 2013 and revoked. And so at the moment, again, there's educational discount. So it's a bit different story. For example, it makes some kind of big deal when they had to ban a complete university from their grid. The Woodbury University is a famous case, which after this moved to OpenSim simulator environment to actually Kitley. And then they gave up in 2016. But the story was in that period in 2012, there was a kind of really hype around that Second Life. That means all companies and institutions wanted to have their presence in that virtual world. And after some time, they got a lot of trouble. So I think the people somehow moved into a virtual world to have new conflicts and troubles. So this, the problem was the students of that university started to, make trouble to other people in this grid. And so they didn't have any other choice than to close it. Yeah. But of course, it was affecting also many other people. So this was a famous story. If you compare the problems, of course, in Second Life is a commercial system. So there are very high prices for having parcels and land. I mean, the ground that you need to set up. Actually, this is the Woodbury University from maybe 2012. So if you'd like to know, for example, you have this standard region size 256 times 256 meter, which is currently like a minimum $120 per month for renting. And you can compare that. You also have to, you can rent spaces in open sim grid providers, but maybe it's like 10 or even less, $10 per month. So, but nevertheless, there are a number of large education organizations have their presence in Second Life. Just to give a name, International Society for Technology and Education, Association for Education, Communication, Technology, and so on. So, and also several universities still have campus regions there. For example, I mentioned University of Texas, Austin, they have a nice location for visiting, but actually this is more an exhibition and is not an active place for research anymore. So this is a comparison of the originator of this open simulator, Second Life, but it's a separate grid. So just let's move on to what we did. So this is actually what Judy brought me up to report these things here. So we set up some environment in November 2019, more for investigating opportunities or to learn about this. So this is a region with name, the name is Terango. And it's established in some kind of, in some organization of different locations. In total, it's a so-called VAR region, which has a size of 1,024 times 1,024 meter, which is so about 1 million square meter territory, but you can see most part here. Divided in some kind of meeting space, and we have a farm simulation in this part, and we have also some kind of factory, supermarket, and urban structures environment, and also a greenhouse. It has developed over the time, so it was not the initial plan. This is like it came up when we started to use these things. Just information, for example, technically, this is hosted by a grid provider with the name Metro. Which is, for example, 30 euro per month, renting the server capacity for running and the software. So we don't have to care about these things. And behind Metro is a non-profit organization with the name Hypergrid Virtual Solution, and it's based in Germany. And apart from providing the CPU for maintaining the software security, backing up, and so on, everything else is, so to say, our development over these few months. So this is what we call Terango. What we're doing there is a number of student-related projects. This is an example, the cycle of the cocoa tree, the chocolate production. So we're starting with some kind of cocoa, it's a cacao tree simulation. I'm sorry, the tree is not really cacao tree, but this is a matter of convenience at that moment. But then after harvesting, so we have, for example, the fermenting of the cocoa beans, the drying, transportation over this Terango to some factory place where we have these roasting and process, and then we have the cocoa powder and liquor to making some consume and the supermarket simulation. After this, we also go on to the recycling and maybe to get fertilizer to close the cycle of this thing. But the aspect we wanted to investigate here is the relation between the farming process and the complete process. In a sense of smart farming, not only take care for the local process and how it interplay with complete process. So there's a kind of central event recording, which we call it a development of a documentation system in a sense of securing the cacao food system against various factors. So this is one setup there. Another one investigating the Forcipomia pollination. Background is, of course, interested in also computer algorithms inspired by natural algorithms. And we see we have a small test bed here, and we have this model of a Forcipomia. So we say just FP, how they are swarming and able to find trees, by which, what is the underlying process, to get it in a kind of computer simulation. Such kind of studies. What we also have developed is, so let me say that was some kind of ongoing research experiment related to doctor course studies in my lab. But then we also got affected by these closure of the university and waking up of these pandemics measure, and also request to put it in online lecturing. And now we have the point, of course, most people started to use Zoom presentations, and well, why everyone has to do the same. So we thought, why give it a try to make the recording in this virtual environment. So we see most of these lectures in QTech became recorded as movies, or they have presented it live via Zoom. But as you see at the moment, we are all sitting before some computer, as I can see here. We don't have the impression to be together in some place or a room. So this is, of course, what the virtual space can provide. So that was the idea, to make the recording of the lecture by avatars, which are actually operated by students from my lab. And we set up the complete course actually in these recordings. But we could also combine it with some kind of small live demonstrations and maybe just entertaining things, whatever. So we set up some what to say, lecture complex and a lecture hall, and recording the videos there. And by the way, also sometimes we had avatars. So the topic was a computation security course. So this is actually Alice and Bob, which are famous characters in these security concepts. So we had in total 7 double, so originally it was double lectures, so 7 lectures, and they each was a recording of 3 to 8 movies and provided to students. But we also gave the narration text, so they could read also along with the reading, and a quiz and some report tasks per week. So this is how the course was performed at the end. And also it was including some live presentation and experiments. So maybe I can show an example of such a live presentation, if you don't mind. This is one part of the lecture, and the topic was a zero knowledge protocol. So maybe you are not a cryptography expert now and don't know what is a zero knowledge protocol. Let me say that the point is the introduction of these protocol is mostly done by explaining a small game, like a hide and seek game. And that game can, so to say, illustrate the understanding of the security of this method. So maybe I will just play a bit on the beginning, that you can see how this recording went on. So it should play in the browser. I hope it's working. And in the middle, there's also the live demonstration. So I will just show a bit of this part so we can get an impression. Okay.
We will conclude this lecture
You can hear video?
cryptographic method.
Can you hear the sound?
It is called
Hello?
Zero Knowledge Protocol.
You have sound?
A strange name, I know. Let us see what this exactly means and how it works.
Yes.
Professor, we can hear.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Remember Alice and Bob? Alice knows a secret key, and she wants
So
to
when it's
prove to
technically the
Bob
sound is a
that
bit
she
weak,
really knows
that we could
this
not
key.
change so much. And there's
But
also,
without giving or showing the key
as you
to
can
Bob.
see, these slides
this
loading,
possible?
for example, this is like an online rendering because it's a 3D environment. So everything is actually rendered.
To see that this is indeed possible, we study a small and simple hide and seek game. An arrangement of rooms on that slide. Rooms 1 and 2 are connected by a secret door. It means you need a secret key or code to open it. Fact is, Alice that has the key, and she wants to prove to Bob that she has the key. But she doesn't want to show the key to Bob. So they decide on that Alice has to perform a small task. First, Alice enters from room, then either goes into room 1 or 2. Point is, Bob is outside and does not see into which room Alice ran.
Okay, maybe just to give you a basic impression that they basically the game is divided into some arrangement of rooms, and there's a kind of secret door connecting the rooms, and want to prove that someone has a key for that room, but it doesn't want to have anyone looking, opening the door. So this is the meaning of zero knowledge. And this game has been introduced about slides, and then we could make it in a,
indeed the key.
So to say, virtual environment by.
Sure, you get the basic idea. Let us try this here directly.
That means you can represent same by a setup of two houses.
Room 1
with
and
that,
a room 2
okay, you will
on the
explain.
ground floor. Let us have a quick look into one such room.
Nobody?
You see, there is a button on the wall. If I press it, it will ask for a code. Enter wrong code, it gives a warning. Look at the left side. When you enter the right code, a secret door will open and one can move to the next house. The other house has same button, so with the correct code, you can go from there to here directly as well. The code to show this, but Tigra claims she knows it, but she does not want to show us. But I really want to know if she really knows that code and if there is such a secret door. We will ask Tigra to go into either of those two rooms while we are not looking. Then, turning back, we will ask her to either leave through door 1 or door 2. Okay, let's start. Please turn and do not looking.
Okay, the point at the moment is that she is supposed to go into one of these rooms of her choice, but we don't know which one. So we cannot see now. No? But after this, you can ask to leave to either door, which is only possible to solve repeatedly if she knows the key to connect both rooms.
Okay,
So
turning back.
That means in that moment we cannot see which room was selected because it's closed here by design. But she's inside. So now you can ask to leave 1 or 2. It's a free choice.
See, Tigra is in. We cannot see in which room she is. Now let us ask her to leave through door 1. Good. Maybe she was already in 1 and had an easy time to come out of door 1.
Okay, so just one example, not about a course here, but of course, the idea here is to repeat that experiment multiple times, because there can still be like a 50% chance to be just lucky to be in the same room as us two leaving. So this is the idea of the zero knowledge protocol, which is kind of illustrated. This is part of the lecture recording, but of course, someone can say it's kind of staged, that they're telling, negotiating before which room to tell, and so. That means after this we gave this kind of sound a bit. Okay. Offer to the students attending the course to also visit and to make the same experiment together with us. So this is a setup, what we said, rental avatar. So a prepared avatar for students, so they could log into the system without not so much effort, and then do the experiment together with us. So this is one special thing we could do. The other thing is also different way of presentation. So what you can see here, as part of this course, there was a kind of interesting infographics that you can see here on top, but it's quite big thing. So normally you can hardly put everything onto one slide and show at a lecture. And so then was the idea, why not make it like a platform, big platform where you can walk on it. So this is a kind of 3D model of these infographics, which is showing the different stages of the Bitcoin transaction process. And yeah, just go along and explain it step by step in a kind of virtual environment. So I just show the beginning of these.
Over here, show you Bitcoin transactions on the walkable side. It uses many of the cryptographic techniques that we have learned so far. This Bitcoin infographics was created by Joshua Romero, Randall Palacio, and Carson Walker. Thanks to them for the marvelous design. The title is How a Bitcoin Transaction Works. Bob, an online merchant, decides to begin accepting Bitcoins as payment. Elise, a buyer, has Bitcoins and wants to purchase merchandise from Bob.
Talk to me.
Hello? I just want to mention there's an invisible fence around the platform so they cannot fall down. Sorry.
At first, we show what Bitcoin wallets and addresses are. Bob and Alice both have Bitcoin wallets on their computers.
Excuse me, Prof.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're limited by the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can move to the next
Yeah.
step.
So just the other activities what we could arrange in this is in that period to make a lab meeting, but also investigating Indonesian architecture and so on. So this is the point. So maybe in a kind of summary, what kind of experience we could make from this one. What I'm showing you here, I think the biggest problem is that it's a complex software. Yeah? So that means when I told you Open Simulator has many subsystems. So if you see this is a kind of collection which is even not complete. So that means when someone is meeting this environment for the first time, it's kind of overwhelming because you're getting quite fast into contact with a number of these things you cannot ignore. So maybe the first thing just to move an avatar is easy, but the next thing is also kind of sometimes wrong expectations about the environment. So I think this is a big problem in that context. But the other things I would, sorry, also a bit much text. What we think or what we learned is, for example, if we just have the idea to just take the students and each one gets an avatar and then meet somewhere, make a kind of campus simulation to give an online lecture, then I think it's technically feasible, but the moment like in a Zoom meeting, maybe you can do that better. For example, students, problems you have is to maintain a kind of student database, maintain their registration and also the, for example, credit transfer and so on to the management of the students. As you might expect, each student would like to, for example, have a different avatar, very simple. How to arrange that. You have also to take care, for example, there might be underage students. But in general, the use of this software is required to have the legal age of 18 years. So there's a concept of a so-called walled garden that these avatars cannot leave that region just for under age protection. And also that they need computational resources. So the software needs, I mean, normal performance computer, but not a low-end computer, and moderate network resources. Yeah. So, but then apart from when you take that into account and you leave this, say, classroom stereotype, then you can do a lot of other things. Let them interact with the virtual environment, learn to take care for things, to study a complex process and system, and also to how to handle and in that sense have virtual assets, learn basic skills of 3D modeling, learn from others, and presenting projects, achievements, and so on. So, and I say on the minus side, or not really minus side, but you will not be able to handle this without personal engagement. Can much better see how they progress and how they're approaching tasks. So in a summary of these, maybe conclusion, I can. I want to make just 3 statements in this period. You can say that the usage of these VR, VS systems like Open Simulator can accompany standard teaching, but it cannot fully replace it. But it brings a lot of novel aspects and opportunities into teaching that might be not yet known. I'm also thinking you cannot require students to do that. So it can only be in something voluntary, or it can have like a bonus activity for getting extra credits, for example. And as I said already, you need some kind of personal commitment of a teacher to the concept of virtual world, and also have to consider there's also kind of business risk about the software operation and operation conditions behind these. So I said in general, but nevertheless, this is an environment which has been, I said, for some years and nearly dead or not much noticed for several years. But you saw the race and this graph I showed before. There's a steady linear increase of the usage of such environments, virtual reality, virtual space, 3D modeling, whatever, over the years. And actually not so strongly affect the current pandemic, so to these words, because it's underlying growth. So far, my presentations of it. Just a word you can visit viewer software, for example. That would be address of Terango, any other place if you like. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for kind attention. Okay.
Presentation from you, and the Open Simulator is a really 3D application servers that can help us during this pandemic. Okay, welcome to Prof. Jasrudin.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how are you, Prof?
I know, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so we will move to the next presentation. After we talk about technology, now we are going to talk about the education during this pandemic. As we know that education is one part of the social life which get more impact from this coronavirus. But if we look closely, there are so many teachers, lecturers move their class from the classroom to their home. But if we really look this remotely education system, this suddenly online phenomenon actually inspire all education stakeholders, including Indonesia, to improve and innovate in several ways, such as maybe in adding aspect of skill in using information technology as one of the important aspects in learning tools, starting from the curriculum, semester learning plan, or learning implementation plan, to the smallest details, such as the ability to arrange questions and other learning activities, both synchronously and asynchronously. But what about in higher education institutions? We are going to discuss about this with Prof. Jasrudin, MSI, the chairman of the Higher Educational Service Institute Regional 9 Sulawesi and Gorontalo, Indonesia. Okay, Prof, to use the time effectively, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my slide. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
The Honorable Professor Mario
Koppen.
So sorry if I am wrong in spelling your name. Profesor. Panitia yang saya hormati, especially Rector of Asyariah Mandar University in Polman in West Sulawesi. Yes. Okay. In this moment, actually, I will not talk about education deeply. Sorry, I repeat. As a leader of higher education services in Sulawesi region, I will not talk about education deeply, but I just only want to motivate us how to change our mindset about education in a globalization era. Let me to introduce a little bit about me. My name is Jasudin Daud Malago. I am a professor in actually a semiconductor field in a physics department of Makassar State University, or we call UNM Universitas Negeri Makassar. Education in digital era. I want to talk a little bit about education in digital era. As an introduction, we know that actually right now we are in the revolution industrial or industrial revolution 4.0. Its case change be difficult to control, and actually the changes is unpredictable. But the problem is because change is not only occur in industrial sectors, but on education system too. And we know that change is a necessity and certainty. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian, era revolusi industri ini membawa perubahan yang sangat sulit buat kita untuk bisa memprediksinya, bahkan bisa agak sulit untuk mengontrolnya. Dan akibat perubahan di revolusi industri ini atau yang diakibatkan oleh 4.0 ini itu menyebabkan perubahan di semua sektor, bukan hanya di sektor industri, tapi di pendidikan juga terjadi seperti itu. Namun demikian, perubahan itu adalah kebutuhan kita dan keniscayaan.
Berapa gitu orang di dalam?
Right now we are working on the gap. As you see in my slide. Sorry, moderator.
Oh, moderator.
Moderator. Hello.
Ya, recording di situ.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh, ya?
Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Okay. As you see in the slide, we are here in present after past, and then we will go to we will going to a future. And present and future, we have a large gap. If we have a good commitment, how to prepare our future, we can be better. But if we are resistant about the change, so we will harmful. That's the problem. This case not only occur in the industrial sector, as I say in the last, but will happen in the all sector, include of course in the education sector. This is a formula of change. Change will be happen. only if we have a pressure, we have appraisal and vision, and we could design our transition plan. But remember, beside pressure, vision, and transition plan, we have what we call resistance. And if we pressure times vision times transition divided to resistance, if we want to make a change, we could have like this: pressure times vision times transition plan divided resistance will bigger than 1. It means that we can change, we can arrange a change. So we have a changes in our program. So as you see in the slide, we have 3 kinds of indicators: pressure, vision, and transition plan. From the 3 indicators, will not one be 0, because, for instance, if the pressure is that's the problem. As a motivation, as I said earlier of my presentation, that many people ask to Chinese people. I mean, many people in developing countries ask to Chinese people, why Chinese grow so fast? So in the slide, I show you China's growth secret. People say, what's the secret that China grows so fast? One of the things is with, it is the answer of Jack Ma. Mr. Jack Ma say that one of the things is we Chinese have a lot, because the Chinese learn very much. They learn a lot about America. Even Mr. Jack Ma say that if today you go to the New York, pick up 100 Americans on the street, and then you ask them, how many of them can speak more than Chinese word? It is very few. And if you go to Beijing, Shanghai, or another city in China, and you grab 100 young people there, how many of them can speak more than 20 English words? More than 80%. They can speak English more than 20 English words. It is mean that China's people have prepared themselves to is learn from the developed country. So Jack Ma said like this: what I worry a lot of is that today, a lot of knowledge-based things, computers in the future can do better than men. And I believe, I agree with this statement, that in the future, not in the future actually, right now, computer can do many things better than men. We should not teach our kids to do the things computers can do better. So that's why don't worry about this one, because the technology make it happen. The things worry, according to Mr. Jack Ma, the things worry is about technology, not about technology. of our education system right now. How to teach our students to teach many things, and the thing is computer cannot do. So we should teach our kids creative, innovative, team sport, culture. That's our problem actually, especially Indonesia. Look our education system. We have to believe that we have any mistake or maybe some mistake when we improve our curriculum, especially from the kindergarten, junior high school, senior high school, even in a higher education. The problem is our curriculum not focused. How to improve the critical thinking of our students. And actually, all of us agree that if I say there is no innovation without critical thinking. From the critical thinking, we can get a gratification. And from the gratification, we can improve, we can build innovation. So especially in higher education, as a leader of higher education services in Sulawesi region, I do hope that we can do like what I say, curriculum reorientation. We have to change our curriculum with and have a good innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Ibu Rektor yang saya hormati, moderator, this is a little bit of my things which I want to share in this moment. So thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Prof, for the great presentation. Yeah, after the COVID-19, there will be many impact in our real life. Okay, for the link for the certificate of attendance will be shared at the end of this conference. And now we are going to move to the next section, to the next presenter. Nowadays, we have seen how the coronavirus has transformed most of our daily routines. As Ibu Rector previously mentioned in her speech, that even in religion, the most sensitive aspect in our life has changed in some ways. Many religious authorities closed their worship place and limiting public gatherings. If we still remember the last February, Saudi Arabia banned foreign arrivals and halted visits to Mecca and Medina for Umrah. Riyadh also briefly shuttered the Great Mosque in Mecca and the Prophet Mosque in Medina for disinfectation. Many mosques have canceled Friday service, and calls to prayer in countries such as in Kuwait and Malaysia have been altered to tell people to pray from home. And so with the Buddhist New Year celebration, which often brings Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Zainuddin, MA. Prof. Zainuddin, can you hear us? Prof. Zainuddin? Prof. Zainuddin?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So Prof. Zainuddin, Professor Dr. Haji Muhammad Zainuddin MA is a professor of Tarbiyah faculty and the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs of UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang, Indonesia. Okay, Prof. Time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Moderator. First of all, I'd like to thank a lot Udriyah Syiabuddin, Excellencies Prof. Mario Koppen, Doctor from Germany, Excellencies Prof. Dr. Jasruddin, MSI, and ladies and gentlemen, participants of the international seminar. Furthermore, allow me to deliver my presentation on religion in the COVID-19 pandemic era. Ladies and gentlemen, participants of the seminar, so far we have never been seen a global pandemic like this COVID-19. COVID-19 has opened our year in war and introspect ourselves. Currently, the information and technology, who masters IT, mean mastering the world, including online learning or e-learning. The question is, what about religion? Will the function of religion also change in the COVID-19 pandemic era? COVID-19 is a global disruption, but in my opinion, it is temporary and will end in time and can be overcome along with human intelligence and the development of science. In the context of understanding religion, ethical experts must be concerned to all of us, including in the aspect of learning, because religious education is same. Ladies and gentlemen, at present, the religious community is faced with a problem of universal humanity that is increasingly complex in line with the progress of the age that continues to accelerate. Thus, the religious community is demanded to be able to understand and explain religious doctrine, while at the same time be able to provide answers to the various humanitarian problems concerning justice, human rights, nature preservation, and social welfare, including how religious people respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Contemporary issues regarding democracy, justice, human rights, the environment, and all types of community alignment should be an indicator of the success of religion propaganda. The concept of universal ethics, including doing good to all, including maintaining the balance of the universe. If this is understood, then ethics subject matter become compulsory in all education institutions, regardless of type and level. As the word adapt, which has an extended of meaning to build civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, the great Prophet Muhammad SAW has been delegated by God to rebuild the universal human ethics or moral, which are commensurate with ihsan, which is the core of religious teachings and as an embodiment of faith and Islam. The following are 3 centers for character education. We can look at this picture, 3 cores of Islamic doctrine: God, human being, human and nature. The picture above shows that humans as servants as well as leaders have 3 relations. First, the human relationship with his Lord, which is particularly built through worship of his Lord. Shahadah, Salat, Zakat, Siyam, and Hajj. Second, human relations with fellow human beings that are implemented with combinable behavior such as honesty, trustworthy, fairness, responsibility, tolerance, and so on. Third, human relations with nature, which are carried out by caring for and preserving nature and the ecosystem, including caring for the land. This concept is in line with God's command in Surah Al-Qasas 77, which can be explained scientifically the meaning of its contents, namely that theologically humans are commanded by Allah to worship Him, and at the same time must also look for life or work in the world. Sociologically, humans must do good to their fellow humans, crossing the boundaries of sectarianism and primordialism. And cosmologically, humans have to use the whole nature for the benefit of the people and must not exploit the nature and environment. In line with Quran Surah Al-Qasas above, Allah also emphasized that prosperity and social welfare are directly proportional to the citizen of the nation or human resources who have the power of orthodoxy or faith and orthodoxies or good deeds or piety, and vice versa, damage to nature and the environment due to distraction and inhumanity done by humans. In this context, God asserts that damage to nature, both land and sea, occurs because of human activity. See the Quran, Surah Ar-Rum 41. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Zaral fasadu fil barri wal bahri bima kasabat aydin nas liyudhiqahum ba'dallazi amilu la'allahum yarji'un. In Al-Quran, Surah Al-Qasas 59, it is also stressed that Allah will not destroy a country unless its inhabitants commit persecution. Likewise, it is mentioned in Surah Al-A'raf 96, walau anna ahlal qura amanu wattaqau lafatahna alaihim barakatim minas sama'i wal ard walakin kazzabu fa akhadnahum bima kanu yaksibun. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, in daily practice, the appreciation of the values of faith is often separated from its social rule, namely the value of faith, orthodoxy, and the value of charity, orthopraxis. In religion, too many contradictions and gaps. As a result, religion cannot be present in public space and its role cannot be functioned. whereas religion is known as a bearer of grace and savior of the people, and normatively as social control, guide, and unifying people. Dom Chamara, an activist and archbishop, called it on all religions to unite and reopen the scriptures to find universal humanitarian principles in the fight against real enemies of injustice. Then, Muslim activist Asghar Ali Engineer emphasized the need to seriously address the spiritual material bipolarity problem of human life by restoring a just and egalitarian social life. Therefore, true believers are not the only ones who pronounce the word in the Islamic view. People who still love social equality and equality do not care about the poor, orphans, displaced, and oppressed people, are referred to as religious liars and traitors, including enemies for religion, are people who accumulate wealth that is of no use to others. Therefore, it can be understood that the Prophet Muhammad SAW first delivered a religion that was opposed by the Quraysh at the time was because he was considered too abstract by its adherents. The religious elite must be able to answer increasingly complex challenges as time change more quickly. These challenges include understanding religious teaching and politicizing religion. While religious plurality can become part of the national treasure if understood as gift from God by establishing cooperation to build unity among religious believers for the realization of world prosperity. If the plurality of religions find one place for the same vision and mission, then religion will be able to answer various challenges that will be faced both in But the phenomenon that appears so far is that religion is more oriented toward the status quo than it is humanitarian mission. Religion is more likely to be positioned behind the interests of formal rules of religious leaders. Therefore, the notion of divine religions must be seated correctly. The true religion is the religion of Samawat wal Ard in the sense of ideal real, namely the integration of ideals and reality like water that descends from the mountains to the lake, cool and soothing. That religion is not in heaven far away, but it is grounded. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Tadi saya ngomong nggak? Lihat nggak? Kamu lihat.
Halo?
Halo? Yes. Nah, moderator.
Okay. We do really sorry because of the bad connection here. So now we are going to move to the next section. It's about answering, questioning and answering section. And while waiting for the participants who want to ask the question to our three speakers may use the raise hand tools so we can unmute the microphone. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang ingin memberikan pertanyaan bisa menggunakan aplikasi angkat tangan di aplikasi Zoom-nya agar kita bisa mengaktifkan mikrofonnya. Okay. In our real life, actually this question dedicated to Prof. Jasrudin. Oh, okay. Because Prof. Jasrudin, there is something important to do. Jadi tadi beliau sudah izin pamit lebih dulu. Okay. Atau mungkin pertanyaannya bisa dijawab sama Prof. Zainuddin, ya. Ini mengenai fenomena anak-anak zaman sekarang, Prof.
Ya.
Ya. Fenomenanya, realitanya sekarang itu kita bisa melihat anak-anak zaman sekarang, mereka masih kecil-kecil tapi sudah bisa mengaplikasikan teknologi, misalnya saja gaming online, dan dari gaming online itu sebenarnya mereka bisa menghasilkan uang. Salah satu entertainment-nya kita itu misalnya Deddy Corbuzier, kalau saya tidak salah, anaknya Deddy Corbuzier ini si Aska masih kecil, usianya sekitar 12 tahun, tetapi dia mampu mengaplikasikan menggunakan teknologi ini dengan sangat baik. Dia mengolah YouTube, mengolah game, dan dari sanalah dia menghasilkan uang ceritanya. Mungkin dari perspektif Profesor Zainuddin, ada sedikit tanggapan mengenai fenomena yang seperti ini.
Bahwa pendidikan ini itu tidak hanya bersifat luring, tetapi juga daring. Termasuk fenomena bahwa anak-anak kecil saat ini sudah bisa menguasai teknologi, bisa membuat aplikasi. Nah, ini positif. Positif. Jadi selagi anak-anak itu menggunakan teknologi dengan cara yang benar, tidak salah gunakan. Nah, ini karena kita tidak bisa menolak, kita tidak bisa menghindar. Halo, bisa didengar?
Ya, bisa, Prof. Bisa.
Ya, kita tidak bisa menolak bahwa saat ini adalah eranya 4.0, menguasai teknologi, master of the IT, ya, it comes straight. Ya. Nah, jadi tidak sama pendidikan zaman dulu dengan sekarang, karena kemajuan teknologi itu semuanya serba IT. Ya. Nah, oleh karena itu kemudian seorang sahabat Ali radhiyallahu itu menyampaikan bahwa ajarilah anak-anakmu sesuai dengan keadaan masanya. Nah, kalau saat ini adalah era teknologi informasi, era digital, maka bagaimanapun harus diajarkan dan harus dapat dilakukan. Nah, persoalannya adalah bagaimana kita sebagai orang tua, kita sebagai guru, harus mampu mengarahkan kepada mereka supaya dengan IT itu tidak disalahgunakan. Harus tetap positif. Karena teknologi itu sesungguhnya dia bersifat netral, tergantung siapa yang akan menggunakan teknologi itu. Kalau digunakan dengan baik, maka dia akan menjadi baik, bahkan lebih bermanfaat. Tapi kalau disalahgunakan akan berbahaya atau sangat tidak bermanfaat. Nah, ini jadi termasuk pembelajaran daring ini sudah saatnya harus diberikan dan para guru harus melek dengan teknologi ini. Nah, ini. Tetapi jangan lupa bahwa pembelajaran daring itu tidak 100%, ya. Harus ada yang namanya pembelajaran lewat face to face. Face to face ini tetap harus dilaksanakan karena itu mengandung unsur silaturahim dan berkah. Dan bagaimana kita memberikan aspek karakter kalau kita tidak pernah ketemu. Nah, ini penting. Oleh karena itu di UIN Malang saya minta daring itu untuk di luar pandemi itu sementara 30% saja. Ya, yang lain tetap tatap muka. Karena ada aspek berkah kalau di perguruan tinggi Islam. Demikian kira-kira jawaban saya, mudah-mudahan bermanfaat.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, maybe the same question to Prof. Jasrudin. Masih pertanyaan yang sama untuk Profesor Jasrudin. It's about the children who can use the technology in early age. Bagaimana pandangan Prof. Jasrudin mengenai anak-anak yang usia dini dan sudah mampu mengoperasikan teknologi dengan baik? Misalnya saja tadi gaming. Anak-anak zaman sekarang sudah bisa menggunakan gaming untuk menghasilkan uang sendiri. Bagaimana tanggapannya, Prof?
Iya. Berapa persen orang asing di meeting ini? Sedikit.
Sedikit, Prof.
Oke, baik. Kalau begitu kita. Oke, sebetulnya pertanyaan itu, how about the kid who cannot use technology? Begitu kan intinya sebetulnya. Ya.
Oke.
Jadi, in my opinion sebetulnya di dalam pemikiran saya, tidak usah tanya itu. Don't you ask about that actually. Kalau our children, our child or our children cannot use technology yet, right now, for instance, ya itu menjadi tugas kita ajar mereka, kita perkenalkan. We have to introduce that technology to our kids, to our children, to our students. Itu harus, itu keharusan. Karena kalau enggak, itu bahaya. Karena kita hidup di era teknologi. Jadi yang paling penting untuk hari ini adalah, menurut saya, teknologi harus dianggap sebagai sesuatu yang bisa mempermudah, tetapi harus dipahami pula bahwa teknologi itu memang bisa berdampak negatif. Oleh sebab itu, we have to prepare our kids. We have to prepare our students. We have to introduce technology. Spesialnya kalau untuk di sekolah kita adalah apa namanya, teknologi in learning process. We have to introduce that technology in learning.
Biasa berapa hari, Dep?
Untuk hari ini saya setuju dengan Prof HM Zainuddin. Ya, saya setuju itu bahwa satu, COVID itu membawa hikmah besar buat kita. Why? Because COVID-19 itu accelerator of Indonesian education system, menjadi pemercepat di dalam sistem pendidikan kita agar kita mau menggunakan teknologi ini, agar kita we have to prepare, gitu, harus mempersiapkan diri, we have to prepare ourselves to familiar with the technology. Tetapi ya jangan lupa teknologi memang ada buruknya. Jadi in my opinion actually about technology, if you ask me about what you think about we have a problem because our kid cannot familiar with the technology yet. In my opinion, not like that. It is one of the homework of the teacher, yeah, of the parents. How to introduce, how to introduce that technology, especially in as I say in learning system. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekalian, lebih baik jangan bertanya bagaimana yang tidak bisa. Pertanyaan pertamanya sebetulnya how to prepare the infrastructure of technology. Nah itu. Especially in higher education. Ini Ibu Rektor ya. Kerjaan rumah kita itu adalah bagaimana mempersiapkan kampus kita supaya ada full technology supporting system. How to prepare our teacher, how to prepare our lecturer to be familiar with the technology. Satu syaratnya, kembangkan perguruan tinggi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, persiapkan infrastruktur yang memungkinkan, seperti dikatakan Prof. Dr. HM Zainuddin tadi, ya after COVID, actually I don't care about COVID, because I believe that COVID will be the end, will be live, akan pergi itu COVID, tinggal persoalan waktu. So pertanyaannya, how about after COVID? Right now we do many things to be a good teacher in what we say in daring system. Kita berusaha sekarang menjadi guru yang baik pada pembelajaran daring. Nah, kalau nanti after COVID kita kembali lagi meninggalkan, lalu kita rugi dong. So right now actually higher education ministry and especially in LLDikti wilayah 9 ya, right now we improve what we call, it is very famous in Indonesia, what we call blended learning. So the mix of face-to-face learning and electronic learning. Itu yang sementara kita persiapkan sekarang. Jadi teknologi adalah alat bantu. So I say to my friend that if someone asks you, is it technology can change the teacher? No, never. Technology cannot change the teacher. So how about a teacher who cannot familiar with the technology, especially technology in learning system? Oh, there is impossible. So what I want to say, we need technology to be a supporting system for lecture, teacher in globalization era, in digital era. That's the key of what like that.
Oh, thank you, Prof. Okay, so Prof. Koppen, can you hear us? Prof. Koppen?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Prof. Koppen?
Yes, hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so just now Prof. Koppen has presented about the Open Simulator as a 3D application server which can help us in studying and learning process. Because it uses 3D application, I do believe, or we do believe that all the learners will enjoy their study with this application or with this server. But Prof. Koppen, maybe we want to know about your opinion about our children who addicted with the technology. Yeah, because nowadays we can deny that most in our life use technology. So what do you think about the children or the person or the people, even the adults who addicted with technology?
Okay, so let me think about this question. I think there are two different aspects. As was already answered before, I would also see, in a sense, that we also have COVID-19 promotion enforcement to use that new technologies much more intensively than before. Yeah, maybe what to say, compare solution what we are doing at the moment. So I think there's nothing much more to add to this argument. The other thing is about the children up in this, as I in culture, but I think much more in contact with but at the moment, of course, my she was to go there because she's interested in finding things like flowers to bring into her region. At the time she's playing also Minecraft a lot, which is in some sense also a similar virtual environment, maybe more simplified construction principles, but basically you can do similar things. And days before she's starting with her classmates to make a video, a Zoom chat. Yeah? So this is 7 years old today. I think it's much more natural for the children to grow up in this environment and to learn the skills needed, because at the end the question is what they want to achieve by this means. They want to communicate, be together with friends to some degree. Yeah, but of course there's the other degree. Of course, children also want to play and move and have physical activity and go to the playground and in a park and whatever and see animals in the zoo. So we cannot ignore that aspect. Yeah? But I think nevertheless the share of technological activity is much larger today than we might think. So we should not underestimate children's ability. Yeah. So that's this is the one point. The other point is, of course, the what to say, risks for children in using technology. I mean, we have to speaking about, for example, I mean, of course, religion encounter things in the internet, which also applies to open. It's an open environment, and then there are also nasty people there. So do not mess. And of course, there's an age requirement, for example, officially. so there's, I think, also aspect that we must also think about somehow protecting our children for things they cannot handle in a direct way. So there's a kind of trade-off between promoting these techniques to experience this as a kind of natural way, of things in our environment. Sorry, but at the same time, sorry. At the same time, what's coming just? What is it protecting? To make sure that they can get up in some kind of avoiding wrong impressions, avoiding bad impressions, or getting wrong pictures, wrong information. You know, people doing a lot of nasty things just for fun. You know. So I think it's a kind of ambiguous thing. But I would not worry so much about the ability. The technical skills and ability, they will come much faster than we think. But on the other side, we have also some responsibility to prepare the things in a children appropriate way. That's my point.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. But there is another question for Prof. Koppen. The question comes from one of the lecturer. And the question is about Open Simulator server. Okay. There are two questions here, Prof. The first is, can SMM implementation be developed by using the simulators? And the second one.
Hey, what is the question?
It's about, could the SMM implementations be developed using the simulators?
What is SNMM?
It's about the open simulator system.
Simulator.
Could the open simulator system implementation be developed using the simulators? Can you get the point?
Not really. It is already a simulator.
Yeah, it's about the simulator. And the second one.
Okay, second question.
The second question is about to produce a simulation using information. What kind of information that developer or maker of the application need to create the simulators?
Okay, the first question. So I see the quality management system. I mean, to say some kind of certified simulation, for example.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
I just see the chat. ISO certificate. First of all, it's an open source development, and I think that the meaning of the meaning of simulation is yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, Prof.
I think at the moment there's not much focus on this because people have a different idea of using.
Excuse me, Prof. It's about the quality management system.
Yeah, I see the chat.
Yeah.
The chat message. I think the moment people did not think so much about it. Procedures was in that sense. The focus is to get an what to say, experience point of view of a simulation. Yeah. So I don't particularly know about the specific quality management center or ISO standards here. It's a hard job, I think. Just as to mention that the system basically includes a scripting system. Yeah? And that, for example, the scripting system is what is it, persistent? It's, for example, you have state variables in your object, which can survive, what to say, region crashes, region resetting. So there's a kind of online. And if you look into the specific of this scripting language, you will find a lot of time constraints. This has been exactly specified because it is the need of the scripting system to work in this concurrent system. It's a distributed computing environment. That means that people need a lot of taking care for the correct timing of process. So in that sense, this is not a standard, but it is a requirement because without that it would not work at all. So that would be my answer. So at the moment there is no specific certification, but the software itself has to fulfill related standards, otherwise it would not work. Okay, that was a first question. The second, one more time.
Miss, the second question, moderator. We don't hear you.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So for the second question is to produce a simulation using information. What kind of the information that the developer or the maker need for this application?
What kind of information?
Yeah.
In a
What
sense
kind of the main information?
Hmm?
The main information that the maker or the developer need to collect first, maybe.
Yeah. So in the sense of what kind of training, education?
Yeah.
In the sense
Maybe it's included with the training information.
Actually, let's have a chat with the student. So it needs to learn a scripting language. Yeah. So the scripting language is not particularly difficult, but the scripting language is offering the various systems. So it depends on how much things you want to do. The more features of the system you include in your simulation or operation, the more things you have to study. Very simple calculation. So I say the scripting language I think is quite easy. The others, of course, it's integrated into objects. Yeah? So you need to design corresponding objects to bring them, to place them. Yeah? And that might be a bit more experience-related task. So maybe it can include 3D modeling if you like, but you can also resort to a more easier approach, what they call prime models, that don't need so much training. So I mean that the uncommon way, if I compare, because I have done a lot of programming in my career, but it's really unusual here. Quite close programming thing, application, and that you have a strong interplay between your object and their behavior. So if you see the object-oriented program, the scripting language oriented, fully object-oriented. Think about between objects. So the objects have also channel communication, and they have sensors, and they have a timer system. So and everything is based on concurrency. And that would be normally very hard to access in a kind of distributed programming environment where you have only abstractions of process, but here you have a kind of real impression of the interplay. You can see what happens immediately and how the things are interplay. Yeah. So this is maybe the not so familiar aspect of this kind of development, while other aspects are more like standard things. So at the moment you can say we have a like a student learning a bit programming, maybe they need 1 month to learn the basic things, to develop their own solutions. So that kind of idea, how much effort. Okay. So.
Miss Nurwa.
Okay, Prof.
There's another question.
Okay, Prof. Okay, actually, we still have some questions to be answered, but it's just...
Industry 4.0. Yeah, about should I answer? There's that question about industry, industry era 4.0, but actually this is the background of the work of my students. Most of them are actually from Indonesia, and their interest is in increase the standards of the I would say farming production, of course, in Indonesia, to come up with not just the technology and the sensor things, because the simulation shows you nicely. It's not just a matter of having many sensors in the field and getting a bunch of data. You have to know how the things are interplaying in a global way, because your farm at the end it goes to I would say big industrial players in the chocolate industry, but it depends. Let me say on a fact, on such a small Forcipomia is a kind of regulating a lot of things in these. You cannot have a monoculture of cacao. Such things you can experience quite directly, how they are working and playing together. So I think yes, it's the main purpose to use such a operations and to understand the complex process of interplay of technology these days much better. Even if you have just a few avatars and a few objects, they can tell you a lot. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, so maybe there will be a closing statement from the Prof. Mario Kopan related with our conference today, related with the theme of our conference today. Maybe you have closing statement, Prof?
For me, closing statement.
Yeah.
Yes.
At first, I'm very impressed about your activity because you're discussing really important. I mean, you use that time, which is all distributing you all over your region. You use it for also supporting each other to answer the question, what will it bring, and you're facing truly unknown future. We have no idea how long these problems will last, but at the same time, we are noting that we have this technology and kind of using. So let me compare, like about 1 year ago, we had an entrance examination using Skype meeting, and it was a horror. Nothing working, no sound and connection problems. And then I don't know about Skype today. Maybe it's still the same problem, but now everything is already needed because people just need it that way. I think if technology can behave that way, just need it, then it's okay for me. I think this is a plus side. There's a kind of promotion of such things. And maybe we are developing these online courses now. So what is next year? So we will start just continuing going back to the lecture room and making as before, or we have now collected all this material and stuff and experience. So I think we will continue to make online lecturing in the sense of, talked before of the Saruddin about the mixture between face-to-face and online lecturing, and I think also in smaller groups, not filling classrooms. So we will find new ways. It's some kind of good point. Yeah. And I hope all of you will not fall prey to this disease. I just say a bit on a bad point. I think some companies try to take advantage in a kind of unfair way. Just a name trust the name of related to Skype also. I think they suddenly take over to making some kind of cheap offers and then to enforce standards later on. We have I just mentioned we are educating. We need whiteboards, online whiteboard. And I think what's going on, like this company with Miro, is removing the any kind of free activity of people providing whiteboards, and suddenly we all have to pay, per user. So before everything was accessible, and now it's closed. We would have to pay a lot of money for really much. How does it say? I think they have $10 per month per user for a whiteboard. It's not only the operator. So and suddenly, I mean, that development is not good. So I think there should be also some kind of measures to avoid such behavior, to what I say, take advantage of the problem of the people in a really greedy fashion. This is also affecting other services we would like to use. We cannot use anymore because of the paywall. I don't know about Zoom. Zoom is still okay, but it's not free service, no? About storage space, cloud service space, and all of them, they're closing up things. So therefore, it was a bit also promoting a kind of open source system, but also getting more under pressure from established systems. No? So just take care for that. And the other point, so I have to say I enjoyed that meeting. I hope all attendants can take something home for the future, and that you continue such discussions, reflecting the impact of these spheres on your daily behavior in a sense of what you have, education, religion. I think it's very important for your daily practices and wishes. And so, yeah, sorry if I'm not so familiar with the cultural ways of welcoming and parting, but on my behalf, so thank you very much for this opportunity, and all wishes to you, and please continue such efforts. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. And actually, there are some of our audiences say hello to you, and they said that they got a really insightful session from you, and there are so many things they can learn from your presentation just now. Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we move to Prof. Jasrudin. Maybe you have a closing statement related with our topic today, Prof.
Okay, thank you, moderator. First, I do appreciate with the Rector of UNASMAN, Ibu Dr. Claudia Sahabudin. Thanks very much for your attention and prepare this international seminar. I think this is a good practice for us, and especially for you, and hopefully we will be a continue in the next, and we can invite many speakers from the overseas, I think. Okay. So it is very good if we plan to arrange like monthly or 3 monthly or whatever, but we have like at least annual international seminar in UNASMAN, of course. And the second one is thanks very much for all of the participants, and but especially for Professor Mario, Profesor HM Sayudin. Terima kasih, Pak. Sudah bisa berbagi dengan kami semua. Thanks, Prof. Mario. Thanks for joining us and be a good presenter today. And I think I will be happy to join with you in the next seminar, of course. Bapak Ibu sekalian, terutama banyak mahasiswa saya di sini yang dari Sulbar, yang dulu pernah kuliah di tempat saya atau dimanapun kita pernah kerjasama. Terima kasih atas partisipasi Anda, dan kita harapkan untuk next program, untuk next seminar atau apa saja, kita bisa ketemu lagi di tempat ini. Percayalah bahwa dengan melakukan sering-sering yang seperti ini, terutama Ibu Ulfa Nita, saya kira Anda bertanggung jawab untuk seperti yang saya katakan tadi, apakah seminar bulanan atau 3 bulan atau 4 bulan atau terserah, bikin saja, atau paling tidak tahunan, untuk membuat, karena tahun berikutnya kita harus melangkah lebih luas lagi, bahwa seminar-seminar kita ya internasional lah. Seperti itu.
Ya, insya Allah,
dengan
Prof.
demikian itu menjadi baik buat kita semua. Terima kasih sekali lagi khususnya especially for Prof Mario. Thank you. Ya, Pak Prof Zainuddin, terima kasih Pak. Terima kasih, kita ketemu lagi pada kesempatan yang lain. Ibu Direktur, Ibu Keduriah, luar biasa. Ya, biarkan disebar, tapi seminarnya itu bukan lagi seminar lokal, tapi internasional, karena internasional itu seluruh orang bisa ikut mau dalam negeri atau luar negeri bisa ikut. Oke? Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The last, maybe from Prof Zainuddin, the closing statement. Okay, please. Yeah.
Mbak itu lupa. Yeah, I like to say thank you again to Mas Aku and especially to Rector of Asyariah University, Ibu Dr. Syihabuddin.
Ya Prof, siap Prof.
Meneruskan kerjasama kita, insya Allah.
Amin, insya Allah Prof. Terima kasih.
And Prof Mario Kobon, thank you very much. Prof Jasruddin, also thank you very much. Telmet Gain. And I have a short statement. One is we have to master the IT, information of technology, to develop our education. And second, we have to maintain relationship that are God, human being, and nature. In order the world is more and peace. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, to all our audience, the link for the certificate of attendance will be shared at the end of this section. Nanti bisa dilihat melalui chat box-nya. Link untuk sertifikatnya akan dibagikan di sana. And the last but not the least, thank you so much Prof Jasruddin, Prof Kopen, arigatou gozaimasu, and Prof Zainuddin. It's our privilege for having you here. Thank you to the chairman of Al-Asyariah Mandar Foundation, Kiai Haji Shibli Sahabuddin. Thank you to director of Al-Asyariah Mandar University, Ibu Huduria Sahabuddin. To all staffs and lecturers and our colleges, to the committees who have prepared this conference, and the most special to all participants. Thank you for everything you share with us. It's really useful, and we do really hope we can use them in our real life. Okay, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, and back to your host.
Okay.
Berikan aja nama atas nama.